Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine and welcome to my channel. This is going to be my stop on the Craft Collabs Favorite Fall Colors hop for sweater weather and fall and all things fall colored. So this was put together to kind of help us celebrate the beginning of fall and use different color combinations that we are partial to. One of my favorite things about fall is the colors in the leaves. I live in Michigan, so we have some pretty spectacular fall color tours. So I wanted to use this image by Penny Black called Pumpkin Ride, and I liked it because you have a lot of room to play with different color combinations. So I'm using Copic markers. I've got some Express It blending cardstock, some Ink on 3 blackout ink, and that is my kind of go-to ink because it's good for everything. And then I'm going to use Copic markers. So I stamped this out in my Misty, and I've colored it a few different times just so I can do different things and see what I like best, and kind of pull from that to color for you for the video. So in the beginning, I showed two different versions of this, and I used two different skin tones, and I looked up some different pumpkin images on Google to see the different varieties of how pumpkins are grown and their different shades and displays of color too. So I kind of went with my favorite ones. So I'm starting off using my darkest oranges. So I've got YR09. And I did my best to show you all the different colors I used as I used them in the video. However, you can't always see the marker caps because I've got both sketch and chow style markers. So if you're familiar with Copics at all, you know that the chows are a smaller barrel and they don't have the numbers on the caps like the sketch markers do. So those numbers are on the barrel itself, and I don't always have a chance to show you the actual barrel. So in the beginning, I showed you kind of my color chart, if you will, the different colors I'd use for the reds, yellows, blues. Sorry, not blue, green. Didn't use much blue in this. And then the skin tones that are used for our little guy. So if you're interested in knowing specifically what I used, go back to the beginning of the video and hit pause and then just write them down. That would be my best suggestion. I did speed up the coloring in the video. I wish I could color this fast. Just for time's sake, because showing you all the markers and the different techniques used. Sometimes it's feathering, sometimes tip to tip. Sometimes it's just good blending. And if you do color at all, you know that it's not the fastest process. So we do kind of take advantage of video editing and creating these videos so that you get a faster version of what would take probably, I don't know, I probably spent between 45 minutes to an hour altogether coloring this guy. And then I, shrunk it down to, I think, 12 minutes for the video altogether. So it gives you an idea of kind of just the process and the time it takes to do good coloring. And if you are familiar with Copic markers, then you know that to get good results, sometimes you have to go back and forth and blend quite a bit between different colors to get a smooth gradation of color or to get the effect that you're looking for. If you're not familiar with Copic markers, but you'd like to be, I highly recommend Sandy Almack's channel and her classes. She has a bunch of different classes on her website that are self-paced, and some of them are beginners, some of them are more advanced, but they're all a lot of fun and really useful in teaching you how to best utilize these markers. And the sketch style are my favorite ones because I feel like they are the easiest to hold. They're the easiest on your hands. because they're a little bit bigger and because of the shape of them. I also feel like you can get a lot finer of a line with the brush nibs that are on the sketch and the chow versus a chisel nib or a bullet nib. And my cat says hello. I don't know if you can hear him or not, but he's a little needy right now. So what I'm doing in these shots is just going back and forth between my colors to get the fade that I'm looking for between the orange to the medium tone red to that deep red. And then on the opposite side of our little guy, I'm going to use an orange into green transition. I guess little story I made up in my head for this image was just, you know, little boys and girls going and playing in the woods in the fall and picking up pretty leaves and just kind of making make believe, you know. So he kind of looks like a little fairy, but he also looks like just a little boy wandering around the woods and playing, finding a great big pumpkin to sit on. So I wanted to use the colors of the leaves as they transition from summer into fall. And then my idea for the pumpkin was a nice, great, big pumpkin that has, sometimes when you turn the pumpkins over when you go pumpkin picking, you'll find some of them have green spots where they've been sitting on the ground or they didn't quite get enough sun in that spot, so they're a little less orange. So that was kind of my idea for the way I colored the pumpkin. So using some browns for the little acorns that are on the little ties on his vest. And then I kept it really simple for the little clothes he's wearing. I didn't do too much there because they're small spaces, so you're not going to see a whole lot of shadows and highlights in those things because they're such small areas. So you want to put more of your focus, some more of your effort and attention into the pumpkin and the leaves. I used a pretty generally warm skin tone for him. I colored him a little bit richer, more of a tan tone, just because I figured if he's going to be outside, then he's going to have more sun exposure, so he'll be a little bit more tan. And the best way to get better with any coloring medium, really, whether it be colored pencils or markers or paints, even crayons or watercolor markers, is to use them, just practice. So when I have an image that I want to use for a video, I have begun stamping out several of them and then coloring them in different ways so that not only am I getting practice that way, but I'm also figuring out what my favorite color scheme would be for that image to share in the video. And these may seem intimidating, especially if you've only watched someone else color with them, but they really are fun and they really are an awesome coloring medium, and you can do a lot with them. So don't fall into that trap of being too scared to try it, because they are a lot of fun. And these markers will last you for years. As long as you take care of them, you can change the nibs, you can refill them, They are an investment, but I think they're worthwhile. So again, keeping it really simple for the clothes, just one color green, and I think I used 2 colors of brown on the shorts. And then for those super fine lines, I'm using just the very tip of the marker. And then as I wrap up coloring the image, just to save time, I didn't include the footage for his hair or the background, just again to make the video a little bit more manageable. So to finish off, I used a piece of pattern paper for the background. I have a piece of dark chocolate cardstock by MFT for the card base, and I've used the Concord 9th double cut alphabet dies for my lettering, and I cut those from some brown cardstock and some copper cardstock, and then layer them on top of one another to kind of get that shadowed effect. So there is the finished card. Let me know if you have any questions, and the next video is going to be linked in the description box, so go ahead and check that out and hop along. The rest of the participants in the blog hop will have tons of stuff for you to be inspired by. And thanks for joining me. We will talk to you later, and have a great day.